Good evening and thanks for joining us on another interesting edition of Point Blank. I'm your regular anchor, Demola Alalade. On tonight's show, we're going to be talking about the realities of life. And to discuss this topic with me here tonight, he is a man of God. He is the senior pastor of the Reality of Grace Ministry International, based here in the UK. He is a publisher of books and he is also a motivational speaker. He is no other person than Pastor Wole Dekole. Pastor, you're welcome to Point Blank tonight.
Thank you very much.
We're going to be looking at various issues that affect that brings to light the reality of life. And to start off, I'm going to be asking you how you as an individual, how did you get into ministration? When did you start your ministry? How exactly did you get the calling it is time to start a ministry?
Well, a long story. I'll make it as brief as possible. I had an encounter with the Lord 5th of September 1991, the very day I finished my youth service. That was the day I didn't have time for God. I didn't have time for God at all.
At that time?
No, at that time, I didn't have time for God. In fact, I was preparing for the parties we had, that was the last day, so we had parties, just to party and have fun, so that before everybody, we would go to their various
locations,
homes. So that was what we were preparing for. There's something happened to me at the crusade ground, at the personal parade. They just said that, please, we are going to have 1 minute silence for those who did not make it with us. So 1,000 people came. We lost a number of people.
Okay.
And right inside that stadium, I began to hear a voice that, and everywhere I turned, why not you? Why not you? Why were you not among? That was what I had among those who died, because I had some,
Were you the only one hearing that voice at that time?
Well, nobody responded to it. Nobody responded to it. I was the only one, because I didn't see any other person asking me, "Are you hearing the same voice?" Nobody. So that was the take-up point. I just started hearing it, so I lost my peace, I lost my joy, and that day, to cut the long story short, I said, "Come, I have 5 parties." I said, "I'm not going to attend any." So I just want to use this today, just today. I told my friend, I said, just this day, just tonight, I want to say thank you, God, then start my normal life. That was what I told them. I didn't know that normal life was not going to come back. Wasn't going to come back again forever and ever. So that was the night I had an encounter with Jesus Christ. That, I've been telling you all along, but you never gave me attention. This day I'm arresting you. I thought it was a joke, but the rest is history. That's what I'm doing now. So, but even though God told me, the Lord spoke to me, it didn't manifest until about almost a decade plus. Because after my graduation, I went to work with Cadbury Nigeria PLC.
Okay.
I was an operations manager then of the largest factory, which is Vita, and doing well to the glory of God. But I just lost my peace. It was not because my career was suffering or whatever, but the joy. I lost my peace, I lost everything. There was just a pull, because God does not push people, God pulls people. There was just this pull that I was at the wrong place, doing the wrong thing, that I needed just to go.
What do you mean by being in the wrong place? Is it being in Nigeria at that time? What's the wrong location for you?
And maybe both Nigeria and the employment.
Oh, right.
Because I just felt that there was nothing wrong with the place. I was the wrong person. you know, in the right place. For those it is right, it was
them.
right for, and it's still right for. Because God has called some people to work there. So that is their own Eden. But it was no more my own Eden. You know, I just knew that I didn't belong there anymore.
What did you do at that time that you?
I went into series of prayers. When I lost my peace, I went into series of prayers to pray that God, you know, something is wrong. Where do you want me to? So, and the first direction I received was that I was to move out of Nigeria. So, moving out of Nigeria, I secured admission in Canada and US, and it was, so I was to go to either Canada or US. So I made that plan, everything was ready. But one afternoon, you know, I had a revelation in which God said it was the UK. Because I've been to the UK and I didn't quite like it. They were too conservative for me, you know, everything was too choked up. So I just said, no. So I didn't even like it. So every attempt by my sibling here to convince me to stay, no, I just said no, I wouldn't stay. So UK was out of it. So when I saw that I was to go to UK, definitely I was not happy because everybody prefers to be in America, then at least Canada, but not here. So that's why I found myself here.
Here in the UK.
Yes, I just had to now obey God. Then I resigned, the operations manager, and came here. So
when you got here, obviously you didn't just start your ministry. Ministry just didn't just drop down like that.
Which is true.
How did you pull everything together? Because obviously before you start a ministry like that, you must have encountered some challenges along the way.
Seriously.
So tell us how you kind of manage.
Well, you are in the UK too, and you know that this is a different world. You know, it is quite different from what is obtainable in Nigeria, Africa, and Nigeria, where I lived, or I was living then. It was because this is point blank, so I will be.
Tell us point blank.
So when I came here, you know, I only heard that God said go to the UK. I did not hear that go and start a church. I didn't hear that I must be frank. So I told my pastor in Nigeria that God has said I should go to the UK, and that when I get to the UK, I will know what to do, and that I will look for one or two churches to, you know, join, and I'll start from there. So I joined, you know, a church. I was very active, helping them. I did all I could, you know, to help the church, but I was neither going forward nor going backward. And you know, when you change naira to pounds, it finishes on time. You know, almost for a whole year and whatever, I was just spending my savings. To the extent that I was even selling my cars, you know. I was selling one car after the other that's the truth, because there was a time they called me in Nigeria that you know, my house rent was due, and I had to tell them, go and sell one of the cars and pay. You know, so that was if we're talking about being blank, I will be blank. It was that tough. So when shame was imminent, I was saying that, see, shame was imminent in the sense that I resigned, because when I tendered my resignation, my operations director would not allow me go. I mean, it took series of, you know, I met him 3 times before he finally, you cannot go.
You must have been very good there.
I think I was hard working. So my operations director would not allow me to go. So here was a man who was carrying file to the blue and white, which we call where the directors were, and being persuaded to stay, not to stay. What is the wrong? Is the salary okay? Are you happy with your boss? Are you, you know, feeling high? Now at the lowest ebb of life, in which everything was just a standstill. So shame was imminent. They were begging you some months ago, you know, to stay back, and you say God has called you. Now I think God has abandoned you, and I needed to go into what I call 3 days in winter, 3 days of dry fast. 3 days. The only thing that made it a bit wet was because in winter it's difficult. And in the evening I would just drink a small cup of warm water to continue the fast. I said, God, I'm here in the UK. If we don't help me, I'm finished. Because this is shame staring at me. I was on 7-figure salary about 15 years ago. Now coming here, and I wouldn't work. I just wouldn't work because I didn't want to use anybody's name or anybody's no. I didn't like. I said rather than do that, I'll go back because how will Pastor Olu today be Ismaila of yesterday? So that there wouldn't be any testimony. But people I stayed with couldn't understand what I was communicating. They saw someone who was lazy, or they saw somebody who was suffering from, slothfulness of one kind or the other, and they didn't understand. But I told them, I said, come, I see myself on air, and I'm privileged to be here today on your TV show by God's grace. It's a privilege. And now, what I saw then is what is happening now. I said, I'll be on air. So how would David, Ismaila, Farouk, or any name that I've used in the past now become the pastor I see tomorrow? So I wouldn't do that. So I now went, I said, God, I wouldn't do this. Now I'm here, I've obeyed you, I'm here. What do I do? And it was then God gave me a clear point direction of what I should. I wanted to start a work for me. Where? He said, here. I said, I'm squatting. I said, I'm squatting. I am squatting. So how will I, it's not enough being squatted. Then I will not begin to bring strange faces to the house. I said, no, you tell them I wouldn't. And do you know what? God told me. Months later. When they told me, they were the one that called me that come. Well, you seem to know the Bible, you seem to be fervent, you seem to be a lover of God and whatever. We see signs and wonders happening to you. If we are not telling you to form a church, why not just form a fellowship to get engaged? Now, they didn't know. I said, what? What did they say? They said, do that. I ran to my room. I brought where God spoke to me. I couldn't have written all those things in a minute. Like, please, can you read it?
Then the evidence.
I said, God has told me. I told him to tell you. This is it. Then they read it. Then now that you know God is in charge, don't ever tell me that why you bringing people. So that's
in a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
That's how it all started up.
Yes.
Our viewers out there, obviously, you can watch us on your Android and your tablets. You have the opportunity to do that. So, Pastor, not many people understand what ministration is all about. What, in your own definition, how would you define ministration? Because so many people out there don't know what ministration is. Would you be able to tell us exactly what
ministry or ministration?
Ministry and administration.
Administration now combined. Ministry is your assignment. When your purpose is what you are defined for. The ability to see that purpose is called a vision. The running of the vision is called a mission. So from which ministry? The word ministry, it is you running your vision. It's called ministry. Discovering your purpose is called vision. So your purpose is your design, is what you are designed to do. That is purpose. Ability to see it and how far you will go in it is called vision. Running the vision is called a mission, which is the ministry. So that is it. But ministration is, if you are a man of God, you are an ambassador of the Most High. No ambassador represents it. Every ambassador represents the nation that sent him. No ambassador has his own personal opinion. Every ambassador is the voice of his country. So as an ambassador of the Most High God, you become the voice of the one you are representing. You don't have your voice. So ministration is the ability to tarry before the one you are representing, to hear accurately and distinctly from him, to bring the message to the people he sent you. Yeah.
Obviously, I know our viewers out there will want to, we've got some questions for Pastor Oluwole Adekunle. If you want to call in to speak to Pastor Oluwole, the number to call will be rolled on the screen for you to have the details, and that's it. That's the number on the screen. So you can call in to ask Pastor Oluwole Adekunle your questions. Now, Pastor, it is believed by many that many men of God do perform miracles. Some people believe miracles, look up to men of God, perform miracles, and then they've got any issues. Some people don't believe. Some people believe men of God just act it up. In your opinion, do you perform miracles, or do you believe in miracles?
Number one, I believe absolutely in miracles, because sometimes principles alone cannot carry you. So I always tell people that I combine principle plus miracle to get to the pinnacle of your life. So it is the combination. It's not a play with words, but it is a combination. I believe absolutely in miracles. That is one. Secondly, are all miracles real? No.
So not all miracles are real?
I don't think so. It is not to slight anyone, it is not to bring anyone down, no, here, but we just know things that, because the word fake is a comparative word. The word fake is not a word that stands on it, it's a comparative word. So they can't say something is fake or something is genuine. If you say it's genuine, then there's a fake. If you say it's fake, then there's genuine. So if that is just it. So if people know that there are fake miracles, then there are genuine ones.
Yeah, but how do you identify fake miracles? How do you know fake miracles?
He said, by their fruit you shall know them. Yes, by their fruit you shall know them. How do I identify miracles? Whatever God does is enduring. Whatever God does is enduring. It will endure. Anything God does will endure.
I think we have a caller on the line. Hello there.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Welcome to Point Blank. Can you tell us your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, good evening. My name is Uche. Good evening, Pastor Olu.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Douglas Uche Moneke.
Yeah, good evening, Douglas.
Yeah, good evening, Pastor
Thank you very much.
Olu, and thanks a million for the time and the real details you've given about your calling. My question before you talk about the miracle is on the issue of calling. Sometimes somebody will say, I'm called. And instead of being you see him going around the whole world, maybe doing something else like a business. Is that a call? Will we class that as a call, even for a Christian?
Can you come again, sir?
Can you reduce your set? If you have your either your computer on, or can you just reduce the volume, please?
Okay, Faith. When somebody is called,
Okay.
must he be only in the line of preaching,
All right.
or can it be business and any other thing? And it still be in line with the will of God, and he said, I'm called into this.
Thank you very much, sir. I'll answer that.
Yes.
That, you see, this question is, I just thank God for this question, because this is where a lot of people have destroyed their lives. Now, this is a ministry. This is a ministry. You are not preaching, but you are fulfilling purpose. God cannot call everybody. If God calls everybody to preach, who drives the buses? Who fly the planes? Who sews our clothes? If God calls everybody to work at the bank, is that also? Who will manufacture the food we eat? Who will?
Yeah, we'll probably be eating the dollars.
This is where we've missed it. A calling is not just for the pulpit. If I hope it's listening to me. A calling is not just for the pulpit. Mr. Bill Gates has been called into the computer world. He has impacted his world more than any pastor. I'm sorry, I'm not being rude to anybody, but you understand. I'm just trying to say that his impact, most pastors have not made the impact Mr. Bill Gates has made. Because it is true what he has done that I can stand here or sit down here and talk and reach Japan, and reach Malaysia, and reach South Africa right here. So we cannot say that everything starts and ends in the pulpit. You can be called to be a business. You can be called to be a tailor. You can be called to be a bus driver. It's a calling, then you have to fulfill it as unto God. It's not about preaching. No. What you are doing, or what we are doing here, is a ministry. You are fulfilling purpose. That's all.
If it comes to
No. Point blank.
no, we need to address it point blank, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Because some people take terrorism as
That's a heavy one. I don't think so. We cannot go too much into scriptures, but in the book of Timothy, the Bible says that God has called us into a good purpose. Every purpose is to add value, not to destroy value. Every purpose is to add value. There is no purpose designated by a God who says he has come to give life and give life more abundant, destroying the life, he has come to give. No, no one can be called to be a God. Every purpose is for value addition. Every purpose is for value addition. No purpose is to destroy value.
another controversial issue that is always a sort of issue in the church. Tithing. Tithing is giving back 10%. But don't do that. You doesn't private taking what belongs to you. What's your own take on tithing?
Well, I believe in tithing. I believe in tithing, but there are clauses to it, and I want to say it this way.
I believe we have another caller on the line. Hello, caller. Can you tell us your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Mercy. I'm calling from London.
Hello, Mercy. Pastor's listening to you. Can we have your question?
My name is Mercy.
Hello, Mercy. We can hear you. Can you tell us your question?
Okay. Hello, Pastor.
Hello. How are you? Hello.
Hello, Mercy. Are you still there?
Hello.
Fine, thank you, sir.
God bless you. Do you have any
Pastor,
contribution or any question?
It's echoing.
What did you say?
Okay, my question, Pastor, when you were not in Christ, were there any clues, signs, or anything that you would be a pastor or man of God in the future? Do you have a feeling, something?
No, maybe the only thing is that I was a bit compassionate.
Okay.
If that is it, but to be a pastor, never. In fact, when we had a sister who used to pray, I've met her twice, not knowing that I was in her house, shouting my name that God should use me as evangelist. Everything ministry was what she was pronouncing on my head, and I got angry. I said, okay, if we are praying this, I wouldn't want God to answer your prayer. So the more she prayed, the more I deep neck in sin. Yes, I wanted to make it worse for God, so that prayer will not be answered. So that was just the truth. I wanted to make it. I would drink and drink and drink heavily. I said, okay, I will now see how God will use it. You can't destroy my life. Face your Christianity. I'm not angry with you. So why are you forcing that? What is your own business on what God should use me for? Leave it till me. And I'm just being serious. It used to infuriate me and get me mad. So I didn't have the slightest inkling that I would be a pastor.
So, Mercy, does that answer your question?
That doesn't answer my question. Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Mercy.
you, Pastor. Bye for now.
God bless you.
Yes, Pastor. You were saying something about tithing before that.
Yes, the only thing that I personally don't do is this. The New Testament, Old Testament, and you know, Israel under the Old Testament was said to be that you are under a curse, not your tithe. God wanted them to return back to Him. You know, and the Bible says in Numbers 23 verse 8, you cannot curse whom God has blessed. Now, in Ephesians 1:3, we've been blessed already in Christ Jesus. So, now, before God blessed us, I believe, personal opinion, that before you can call us blessed, then the issue of whatever will have made us to be cursed will have been said, including the issue of tithing. Now, so that is just it. I don't believe, revelation is gradual. Revelation is gradual. This is where I am. I don't believe that don't pay your tithe, then you as a child of God, you're under a curse. I don't believe. Because it's a bit, things happen that, are not right, anytime I don't pay. It's what you believe. It is what you believe that bring about. Now, do you pay your tithe? Do you give your tithe? Yes, I give my tithe. I don't default it. I give it as an act of worship. I give it as an act of appreciation, because in Leviticus 26, he said, when you take your tithe, say the following thing: God, I remember where I was, and I now know where I am. From the abundance of what you've done, I brought this to worship and to say thank you. That's the whole essence of tithing. Now, what is the difference between those who give and those who don't give? It is there in Acts of the Apostle chapter 20 verse 35. It is more blessed. God called it the more blessed. He didn't say you are cursed, only that one, we have more opportunity. But thank you very much. There is no cursing with them. We are all blessed, and some can, manifest the blessing. But that is just my take on it.
Okay. Pastor Oluwole is also, as we said earlier, Pastor is also a publisher. He has published about 3 books. Three books now, yes. It's got the one here is called Your Words Shape Your World. Your Words Shape Your World. I think we have another caller on the line. We'll come back to that. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. You're on to Point Blank.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Grace from London.
Okay.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good
Yes,
evening.
go on. We
Hello,
can hear you.
Pastor.
Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
My name is Grace from London.
Okay. God bless you.
Can we
Yeah,
have
hello?
your question? Yeah, we can hear you. Can we have your question?
You can
The pastor
lower
is
your
listening.
You can lower your set.
Thank you very much. You've been
Okay.
discussing about calling and how. Hello.
Hello.
Go on, we can hear you.
Hello. Yeah, my point is. Hello.
So, what's your
Hello?
question? Can you lower the volume of your laptop or your?
Hello, can I just advise that you listen from your phone rather than listening from your computer? Because we can hear you now if you can speak in that form, yeah?
Okay, listen from your
Hello?
phone. Yes, hello.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been hearing Pastor talking about calling,
Okay.
and my question is, and I want like an answer. Pastor, how did you know that God called you? Did He appear to you, or did He speak to your heart? That is my question. That is what I want to know. Thank you.
Okay. Where my own is that is both, and is I will talk for my own self personally. Jesus appeared to me, but that's not the case with everyone. Because I've had Pastor W. F. Kumuyi said that he never saw anybody. It was just the burden of his, that was too much that made him to go and preach. Pastor Matthew Ashimolowo said the same thing, that it was just the burden of his heart that made him to go and preach. So my own case, and I can't use my own case to generalize, to generalize everybody's case. In my own, Jesus appeared to me.
So Jesus appeared to you.
Was
he wearing a pair of suits or?
Let me tell you, I couldn't look at his face. His face was like sun. The sun. Every attempt to look at his face was a blinding light. So I attempted it about 3 times. It was a blinding light. So the God we serve is very small. It was a blinding light. The only thing he left me with was the words. And look at the contrast from one extreme of rebellion to another extreme of total obedience and submission to God. My family didn't believe me when I said that Jesus appeared to tell you. It became mockery that Jesus appeared to you. Just the same question you were asking. And they said they should take me to a mental home. Mental home. That was how bad it was. Because they could not understand what was happening to them. They didn't believe because it was too extreme. And they now said, okay, if Jesus appeared to you, now you said, you told us that Jesus Christ said he will answer your prayer. They gave me prayer point. I prayed, it was answered. They were still not convinced. They thought it was a mental case until God intervened. I was to carry a letter to Lagos in which they would bundle me.
I think we have another caller on the line. Hello, can we? You're welcome to Point Blank. You have Pastor Wole Adekunle in the studio.
Good evening.
Hello, caller.
Hello, good evening. My name is Kemi from London.
All right, good evening.
Good evening.
God bless you.
Good evening, Pastor.
God bless you, my sister.
My question is, God bless you, sir.
God bless you too. Would you kindly lower the volume of your set, whatever you are using, and put the phone close to your ears, and we communicate from the phone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My question is that before you became a Christian, was there a hunger inside of you? Were you seeking for an answer?
Before Jesus appeared to me?
Yes, sir.
Was I seeking for an answer? I knew I was in
trouble. Were you speaking? Were you...
Yeah,
was there,
if there was anything I was seeking for deliverance because I was into habits that were killing me. That was just it. I knew I was in trouble.
Okay.
I knew I was in trouble. I was not seeking deliverance to serve him. I was seeking deliverance because my life I lost the key of my life. And I know what I'm saying. I lost the key of my life totally. And I knew that I was like a vehicle that had lost control. And I was just going for the crash. And if there was anything I was telling God, then it was that he should help me and deliver me. But it was not that he should deliver me so that I would serve him. That was just it. I was just crying because I knew that the habit I was into, if he didn't intervene quickly, I would be gone.
I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very
much.
Thank you,
Pastor.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we'll go back to your books now.
Okay.
You've got 3 books. One is Your Words Shape Your World.
Yeah.
The other one is Prosperity
Without
Tears. And the third one is Provoking God's Favor.
Yes.
What gave you the inspiration to write this book? Before we take that, I think we've got another caller on the line. Good evening and welcome to Point Blank.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I just want to ask the pastor question.
Yeah, go on. Can we know you, before you do that, can we know your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from London.
Okay.
And your name, please?
Tony is my name.
Who?
Tony.
Tony.
Tony,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Go on, Tony.
Right. I just want to ask Pastor Olu a question. Spoke about purpose.
All right.
That when God calls an individual
Yes.
for a purpose,
Yeah.
does he show him the purpose? Does it come as a film, or will his heart point him to what he has to do?
Okay.
That's one.
All right.
And if like he's been called to be a pastor, will somebody else be called to help him, like a wife, like a somebody to help him in the calling?
Okay. That's number 2. Is there a number 3?
No, we take it after the number 2.
Okay. Thank you very much. The first thing that is like, how do you know? That is like, how do you know your purpose?
Yeah.
You see, your purpose is your. There are 2 things, 2 poles to it. Number 1, your interest and your disinterest. It's a revelation of your purpose. If you are always angry about injustice, maybe you are a civil right. Someone like Chief Gadifawa, his own was, he fought injustice to the grave. I had to sit down the day they were burying him for 4 hours of my time. It's worth listening to him. 4 hours of my precious time. Over forward, they started from around 11 to around 4 or 5. I sat down. I didn't go anywhere. To pay my last respect. Not because he's a Muslim, but because of what he stood for. There was something he stood for. And he said something at his burial, and I shed tears. I started weeping alone at home. He called Governor Mimiko of Ondo State, on his sick bed, dying of cancer. Mimiko, Magbagbe awon masses. Look at, he's still on the sick bed. I started weeping. That was purpose. Magbagbe awon masses.
Don't forget the masses.
Yeah,
just for.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Magbagbe awon masses is a Yoruba word telling us don't neglect the masses. Don't neglect the poor. I mean, somebody was on his sick bed crying
For the masses.
not for his health. Not for his health. I started weeping. Your purpose is your interest or disinterest. Whatever, infuriates you is what you are called to correct, not to criticize. But we make the mistake of criticizing what God has sent us to correct, not doing anything, further destroying what is already bad. It's criticism. But correcting what is already, bad is what you are called to do. That is it. Then what to love is another revelation of, it's either what to hate, then you start correcting it, or what to love. There's no way God will tell you to. God is not a taxman who will give you something you hate doing. That is punishment. Your purpose is your pleasure. Purpose, God has not created man to work. He created us to play. That's why they say we are playing football, we are playing golf, and they are earning millions. And some are working, not earning anything. So your purpose is your pleasure. That is one. He also asks, so if you want to know, just check your interest.
I think we've got another caller on the line, but we will finish that the question the gentleman asked earlier on.
Okay.
So hello caller, can we know
Yes,
your name
sir.
and where you're calling from?
My name is David, and I'm in London.
Okay.
Hi David.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening, Pastor.
God bless you.
Can I go ahead with my question?
Go on with your question, David. Go on.
All right. I'd like to ask, Pastor, some people have different gifts, and they have various things they're good at. And how do they know the particular thing that God has called them for, especially when they're good at a number of things, and they believe that they're called for those things?
Okay. Thank you. I think in that case, you may need to seek counsel. You know, you may need to seek counsel. I will just pick the just one individual, Dr. Miles Monroe. He knows how to paint. He's a singer. He's an author. He's a speaker. He said at the time he got confused because he made it easy now. So what do I do? He said, then I chose to speak. Then also you can make your choice. If you are multi-talented like that, you know, I think that is where they have gift and calling. You can be gifted, but that may not be your calling. You can be gifted like Reverend Chris Okoti, he's a gifted singer. They're called to preach. Your gift is to enhance your calling. Your gift is not your calling. So you don't. So if you are gifted, that you are multi-talented, does not mean you are called to solve every problem. Those talents are given to enhance the actual calling, and you will know it. One will gain preference over the other. Anyone that gains preference over the other, I think you should consider that.
I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, sir.
God bless you.
Thank you so much for calling in.
Then the other question,
yes.
Well, the second one about maybe your wife or whatever helping your vision. Because, okay, now, God said I will make a help me. How can somebody come and help me on what he does not like? You know?
Yeah, is that no caller.
Okay.
Oh, there is a caller on the line. Oh. Yeah, hello, caller.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on Point Blank. Can we have your name and your question?
My name is Goodhead, and I'm calling from London.
Okay.
Go on.
I have a question for Pastor.
All right.
So my question, I have two questions. One is the tithing and offering.
Okay.
Okay.
You said that the Bible says that it's more blessed to give
than to receive.
And
hello, can you lower your set and let your phone be close to your ears and lower any device you are using?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay.
So the question I have is that, from my understanding, I feel like the tithe is God's money. So the question I have is it optional? Does someone have an option? Or is it something that we must do?
I don't think that is. You see, when you know God, you see, when they begin to talk about money, if you truly know God, they will talk less. Because you know that, yes, God, you know that God and you know, both your money and God, you and your money is owned by God. You don't begin to argue. I'm not by this saying it's optional, but also we have to be balanced in scriptures and we have to know dispensations. The Old Testament is not the New Testament. We've been blessed already, and you cannot curse. You cannot curse whom God has blessed. If not, if they take you up on this and they ask you, you may find yourself wanted, because they say we should study to show ourselves approved unto God. Is that not so? Rightly dividing the word of truth. We will be the right division of the word of God.
I hope that answers your question.
Yes, and the other question I have, sir, is that regarding purpose.
Yes.
And
quickly.
Because time is fast spent, so we need to round up quickly. So let's have your question quickly.
The question I have is when God calls someone, or when you discover your purpose, is it
when God calls somebody, what happens?
When God calls someone or gives someone a vision or a purpose, or when someone discovers a vision, does it likely mean that it's going to be easy or a smooth road? You have to work hard and...
Okay, let me quickly answer it. Purpose is not your design, it's your discovery. That's number one. It's not your design, it's your discovery. Number two, purpose is to solve a problem. And there is no way the one who created the problem will love you. No way.
Thank you so much. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you very much. We won't be able to go much into your books anymore, but
okay.
We've seen the books anyway. So if you want to get any of these books, where do we get it from?
Amazon.co.uk.
So you go to amazon.co.uk to get any of Pastor's books. So I think that I think we've got another caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Can we know your name and where you're calling from?
Hello, good evening. My name is Ola. I'm calling from East.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, can we quickly know your name and where you're calling from, and then you can ask
Hello,
Pastor
good
your
evening.
question.
I'm calling from East London. Ola. Good evening, Pastor.
Good evening.
My question is, does being raised in an area or areas that you're called to that area?
Can you lower your set, please? Can you lower your set and put the phone there?
Can you just use the phone? Just put this, your any device that you have there, just put it aside.
Yeah, I'm actually far away.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah. I just want to find out that does being graced in area or areas mean that you're called to that area, especially if people are being blessed when you minister in those areas?
Well, I will accept that any area of grace is the area of your assignment. God will not give you what is difficult for you. He said, my burden is light, my yoke is easy. So your area of calling is your area of grace. So anything you enjoy doing that you find easy to do and you are happy doing, please go ahead and do it. Don't do a job that is difficult for you, because you will not be excellent in it. The expert in you will not come out. And at the end of the day, it will be burdensome. So just go ahead and do what you enjoy doing. Any area of your grace, your grace is connected to your purpose and your assignment.
I think that answers your question.
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Pastor, why is it that churches don't believe in empowering?
That's not true.
Yeah, let us know why it's not true. Some people believe, some people have that school.
No. What is empowerment? Empowerment is that of being informed to produce maximally for yourself and to be able to help yourself and your immediate community. I will speak for our church and the churches I know around that we do empower. We've conducted business meetings we are conducting business meetings in
just a minute. I think we've got another caller on the line. Good evening, caller.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on Point Blank.
Yes, thanks for the program. I'm really enjoying it.
Thank you.
Thank you very
My
much.
name is Craig. I'm calling from South End.
Okay.
The question I have for Pastor is this. Yeah, before I ask the question, right? It happened that I attended a church service. Some time ago, somewhere in London. And when the guy preached and said that everybody we should empty our pocket and pray on the morning, stand on the morning and pray that yes, today we stand on the morning and the money will be gone on errand for us. Blah blah blah. Now later on, he said that everybody should step aside. And he sent his ushers and they just packed all the money, everything. I went to the church, the pastor's office. So I know in these days that all pastors, I'm not saying all of them, most of them, they're preaching about money, 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 money. Okay? And when you know the Bible very well, the only place where Jesus Christ mentioned money was when he said, give unto Caesar what is Caesar. Okay? So when he said to the disciples to...
So what exactly is your question?
The question is that easy. Why is it that we have some pastors, so-called pastors, majority of them is just preaching about money, money, money. Now they have drilled, they're not preaching salvation, and thereby, sending people away from God, turning people away from God. That's my question.
Are you sure people are turning people away from God? It depends on how you see it. It depends. I think that is a personal your personal perspective on the issue. That is one. Number two about that is that, you see, we should have discernment. We should have discernment. What I normally tell people is that no pastor will put rope on your neck to drop any money. Be led by the Spirit. If any pastor scorns you, it shows that you are the person that is scorned is disconnected from God also. Because I cannot go anywhere now, and if I'm not led to give, I will not give, irrespective of the ecclesiastical, the title of the man of God. I am led. As many as are led by the Spirit are the sons of God. You know. So please, anywhere you go, and they are doing anything that your spirit is not at peace with, don't join them to do. Don't give. Nobody will force you. Be happy doing what you want to do, and you will receive blessing. Because if you drop it and you complain, that will not help you.
I'm sure if you take one of this pastor's book, Prosperity Without Tears, that will help you to know more about giving to God. I think we've got another caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Can we know your name and where you're calling from, and then you can ask Pastor your question.
Hello, good evening. I was on the phone earlier and the line just got cut off.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I'm ringing you after.
Okay. Have we answered? Has the pastor answered your question?
Well, I believe so. You know. So
what was the
ring back because
I think it was the one. Were you the one who asked about the?
That's correct. Yes.
About the church parking the money on.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. You are the one that asked. So please, when you go anywhere and you are they are raising money and you don't feel easy, don't drop. I wouldn't drop. That is one. Secondly, please don't say why are they talking about money. Can I tell you the candid truth? Money is an issue. You shy away from it. You shy away from it. You'll be impoverished. You go to work 7 days a week because of money. You go to church maybe once or twice a week. They talk about money. So why are you frowning? You have to be taught. You have to be taught because that's what you are laboring for. They want to reduce your labor. Is that also because it's not about how hard you work, but how well?
Because the church you even go, they need your money to be able to pay the rent for the church.
Yes, it's trade and barter.
Exactly.
It's trade and barter.
Yes. Thank you, Pastor. I am not against people to.
Honestly, I understand the spirit in which you ask for, and you see, there is no profession that does not have bad eggs. We have bad teachers, bad pastors, bad pilots, bad everything. So it's a little level the whole lot.
We even have bad leaders.
Exactly. You're saying that. Okay. So they blame the problem of Nigeria on pastors. What about the leaders?
That brings me to another question. Thank you, caller. Thanks for calling us.
God bless you, my brother.
That brings me to another question. What is the church doing to get Nigeria out of this?
In fact, I'm not in Nigeria.
You're not a Nigerian?
I'm not in Nigeria.
Oh, you're not in Nigeria?
Yeah, I am. But I believe if Nigeria is going to survive, it will survive because of the impact of the church. Because by the time the church becomes worldly and the world becomes church, there's no hope. We are the salt of the earth. We are the salt and we are the light. So if the church fails, then Nigeria has failed.
Thank you, Pastor. I think we've got another caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Quickly, can we just take your question and just tell us your name and just go straight to your question?
Yeah, good evening. This is Paris from London.
Okay.
Yeah, my question is, if you're called of God, how do you know that you're called?
I think the pastor has answered that question.
You will know, because you will know on your inside. I've said it, whatever you love doing or whatever you hate saying, what you hate saying is what you have to correct. What you love doing is what you have to do. That's how you will know. And if we need more questions, please call this studio, and they will organize
how to see you.
Yeah.
The last question I'm going to ask you: what is the church's position, morality? Why are the men of God not talking about it?
You see, one thing is that is it the crowd you want or the crown? Is it the crowd or the crown? If you want the crowd, you will not talk about what will drive them. But if you want the crown, talk about it. So now, it is the crown I am gunning for. It is the crown, by the grace of God, it is the crown of righteousness, not the crown of unrighteousness. That is my take about it. They are silent not because maybe they are involved in it. They are silent because they don't want to hurt any feeling. And so a tablet, anything that we heal will be bitter. That's why they say the truth is bitter, because it is to deliver.
I think we've got another caller on the line. This is the last call we're going to take tonight. Hello, caller. Good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. You're just lucky. You're the last person we're going to be taking. Quickly tell us your name and just ask your question.
Thank you. This is Emmanuel. I'm calling from London.
Emmanuel.
I'm calling from London.
Okay.
I just want to ask the pastor, what is his view regarding the issue of so many pastors in Nigeria buying private jets, like the news I just received yesterday. Another pastor has just bought a jet of 4.5 billion naira.
Okay. My view about it, number one is that I don't know the assignment for the jet. I don't know the pastor in question, and the Bible says that that before we make any comment, we should get every factor right before we make. That is one. Number two, I'm not in the capacity. I don't have the capacity to judge anyone, because Matthew 7:1 says, "Judge not that you may not be judged." The only thing that we employ us is that we should pray for them, because sometimes people don't pray for their pastors, and when they do err, the same people who are not praying for them are the same people who will chastise them and cane them. So I think we just have to begin to pray for them, that God will guide them aright. Leadership is not that easy as we think. We should support our pastors in prayer.
I think for popular demand, we're going to take one more call tonight, Pastor. So we'll take your call now. Hello, caller. You're going to be the last person this time around. This is the last one. Good evening, caller.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, please.
Can you tell us your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, my name is Grace, and I'm calling from Dublin.
From Dublin?
Wow.
Thank you
My
for calling.
question is this. If a lady knows she's old, and the husband has said he can never support her ministry, what does she do besides praying?
If a lady is called and the husband says he will never support the ministry.
Yes, because he feels it's not from him.
Okay.
What should she do besides praying?
Let me tell you. You have to submit to your husband, because when your home is not settled, a home that is not settled doesn't have any message for the community. You understand? If God has called you, if God Almighty has called you, the God who can tamper with your husband, what kind of God is that? You see, if your husband says, "Oh, you cannot do this, you cannot do that," all you will have to say is that, "God, the day you touch my husband is the day, I will go touch him, because you are the one that says you don't want my home to be destroyed." I will give you an example from this book. When the Lord told me to write this book 15 years ago, I was not a pastor. I was not even a deacon. I was just an ordinary member. Your worship, your word. I told God, I said, my pastor has not written a book, and I don't want problem for myself. You tell my pastor because I'm a man under authority. If you don't tell my pastor, and I'm not going to write it. And guess what? It was my pastor's prophet friend that picked me out through a prophetic word that I needed to write a book. In that way, my pastor could not fight it. In fact, as of that time, he bought one book for 5,000. You should know what that means. To pick a book for 5,000 in those days, about 15 years ago. Why? And he gave me the church, he gave me the choir, he gave me everything to support, because it was his friend, not my friend. But I was submitted to authority. If God has called you, tell God to speak. It's not the author of confusion. God cannot destroy your home to run other people's life, because you will not have a testimony out there and people will not believe you. Please, let God touch your husband. and heed this advice. Don't think I'm too hard. It's just the truth.
I hope that answers your questions.
Hello?
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you.
Please don't be angry. Yes, just pray, and if you want me to join you in prayer, send your information to them, and I will join you in prayer. But just toe the right line, so that you know you can make maximum impact. Don't force him. Just pray that God should touch his heart. By the time God touches his heart, he will be the one that will beat drum and beat the guitar and do everything to shock you.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
God bless you, my sister. God honor you. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Thank you, caller. Well, that's it. I think the lines are closed now. Because I see there are more calls coming in. If you need more information or you need any more counseling, you can reach us or you reach Pastor Oluwole. So wonderful having you on the show tonight. I've been blessed.
Thank you very much.
And I'm sure our viewers at home have also.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, that's it. That's all we can take on tonight's edition of Point Blank. We promise to be back again sometime next week. At the same time next week, not sometime. Same time next week, we'll be back here. Till then.